deity. It was sad. You see, back to what the topic. If you look at the tradition and the law, they are supposed to be something that is being fused and go together. But what is wrong in traditional people, they made the laws that governs them. But if you look at this situation, first of all, if you take Article Chapter 5 of the Constitution, individual will have our rights.
Yeah.
And in there, anyone who has been given an order or done something, doing something to someone that is against the person's will, right from that very point, I'll call it's wrong. And we cannot in any way justify that. You see, I'm happy then the chance to do their work and let us know what is actually going on. We cannot also sweep away what the people themselves have brought out. I listened to that man so much, and then he came out that it is not actually marriage, but a betrothal to the gods,
the deity.
The deity. So I asked myself, a lawyer of such caliber, are we by any ways as a country, does the law approve betrothal marriage? My brother here will agree with you that the law frowns upon it, because we wouldn't want to subject any child to something that the person wouldn't grow and like. So from the beginning, it was a no-go area.
But have you heard from the Nungwa people themselves?
Coming there.
Okay, all right.
So I also listened to the spokesman, the Reverend. Now, I forgot his name.
Yes, Reverend Ankra.
Yes. He said the girl is not married.
The deity, Babu.
So I ask again, does our laws permit us to engage marriage or to contract any marriage between a human being and a spirit?
Well, anyway, you finish.
So this is how dicey the whole situation is. So for the reverend to come that this is actually what the traditional council did by contracting a marriage between a human being, which we believe that is...
I don't think necessarily was a marriage, but his explanation, because I hosted him.
No, okay.
Yes, because his explanation was that they possess the processes they have to conduct so that the lady, quote and unquote, can serve that deity directly.
So finally...
Yeah, and then at age...
Now point, where between the lady, the young lady, and the 62-year-old man, but rather the young lady and the deity.
And the deity, yes.
So get engaged or contract a marriage between a woman and a deity. So from that point
what if the tradition allows for something like that to happen?
No, we can't assume. It is not. From our laws, you can't contract a marriage between two people whereby the other party does not have the capacity to contract. If you look at our Seal of Good Act, we have the capacity to contract. No marriage is a form of contract. And if you look at the Children's Act, you can't get a child cannot get married at that age. And if you remember, there was a case between a proprietor of a school whereby a young girl, I think the similar age. So you could see that in terms of law, we don't have any law that supports what we are believed to have happened. I'm saying this because investigations, the fact that the law or it doesn't come out, and it has given Ghana a whole lot of, it's a global. You see on Tuesday evening around 5:30 to 6 p.m. knows that as for Ghana, we are still practicing child marriage. That was the headline.
And it's unfortunate, that's really.
Very, very, very unfortunate. Is right or who is wrong, but are involved in this case. They owe us every explanation. They need to come and tell us. Believe me, if we continue this tangent, who is right or who is wrong, I give you 1 month. Those who we pay to do what break of law, as we may in a way reclaim our law and tradition.
Exactly. I mean, where do we actually find that that fine line in there between the law and the tradition?
This very thing. But what I've heard from the spokesperson, Reverend Ankra, believe me, we have no law that backs whatever that he has put up there, because there's no
similar instances where certain deity can actually possess someone, and then it's allowed for certain things to actually happen. So
he is now telling us that there is a possession. But
what he said was that possession happened then.
I agree with you.
Yes.
But what we are talking about today, and what the world knows today, is that X16 even started with 12.
Yes.
But that we've been made to
which didn't
that,
come from them.
Yes. So now the law believes that, or what the law states is that a child of that, the contract, or to get into what, are making us believe that it's not a normal human. The law allow Ghanaians to contract a marriage between a human being and a spirit.
That's the law.
Well, that is why we have statutes and other sources of laws, case laws that bans this kind of act. Once upon a time, we used to kill human beings for and other stuff. It used to be a lion or so that people go and then there's a lot of deaths. We even heard that they used to have human sacrifice in Ghana here, protection. That is why we made away with all those things. And then we are now like publishing or pushing what we think is good for humanity. I don't know whether there's anything like that I'm yet to know. That is why the investigations may come out that, okay, we've established that the human being or a lady of this age should be married to a deity. If that happens, fair enough. Then we may be thinking of a review. If maybe, of course, now we are all saying that what happened.
The thing is that the actual rights ceremony.
So that was what came out. And
yes,
when we saw the whole thing first, we saw marriage. Just like the normal thing that outdoor, what they call it, engagement, where they will carry their bags. And they were doing it on behalf of the deity. If I should take Reverend Ankress West, that she's not married to the old man we all thought, but rather
it's
the
a whole
deity.
Traditional thing. So there's a deity.
Yes.
That is Bobu.
Oh yes.
And that deity has someone that represents.
That's the Bobu Wulomo.
That's the Bobu Wulomo.
Yes.
Good. And then they need someone that will actually serve that deity, and that is the lady.
So are we back to our autocracy system?
How?
That once upon a time, we will have someone that will be like dedicated to the gods.
But it's happening almost. Most traditions have got things like that.
It may be happening, but are you aware?
No,
Apart from this one, can you mention any of them?
What I'm saying is that there are some cultural practices like that, there are traditions like that.
In Ghana here,
Of course.
I am not aware. I've never seen any.
Or who serve the gods.
Yeah, with Paul Abeshe, we did other stuff, but for somebody to be married to that God, I've not seen.
Well, that's the other aspect. I
Yes,
will
so
use that as marriage too, but let's see how
so
that's
this is what we are talking about. Nobody is banning or saying anything against we worshiping our traditional form of worship. No. I believe in it. I don't have a problem with that. Anyway, I may not have any problem with our tradition whereby we go with Paul Abeshe, we call our ancestors. I don't have a problem with that. But what I have not seen, or maybe what I've not seen in the law, is that a human being getting married, just like what has happened, and what is giving the bad publicity about Ghana.
Okay.
So I will, in our own little way, we can also write one or two stuff to be able to correct the notion that have been published out there that as for Ghanaians, they are still practicing child marriage. Yeah.
Okay. What else you have something to say?
George, I think it will be important for a fair balance to be struck between the tradition. Wouldn't even wait. For
Yeah,
us to,
that's our biggest problem.
Yes, people wouldn't even wait.
They don't know
We
it.
would just get on.
You just get on social media, start blazing it here and there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that really has been a bane on us. And I believe it's important for the Attorney General to ensure that going forward, maybe they hold a lot of stakeholder engagement, so that with a lot of the ancient practices that have been outlawed, and all of us have to speed. You would go to certain places and they may have no idea that certain practices, that the engagement and education, so that we will know. And it's and all of that, we don't practice that. And I in this time and age, people will still be practicing this incidence of witchcraft, people,
Yes.
sacking old women from their towns because they feel they are witches. These are highly uncalled for, and I believe once we are able to have a lot of education on it, it would bring all of us up to speed so that we'll be able to have reduced incidences of this. But I urge again that we should be very measured in the way we have conversations around this. I mean, yes, our chiefs, youths should be very, very careful as to the kind of ultra.
It's giving people the voice. So let's move to our second item. It's got to do with the passport fees. The Foreign Affairs Ministry pages was 100 Ghana cedis, and then for 48 pages it was 150 Ghana cedis. That's for the normal process. But if you really want your process to be go through a quick process for you, you have for 32 pages you're paying 150 Ghana cedis, and then for 48 pages you're paying 200 Ghana cedis. That was previously. Now the new fee, we have 32 Ghana cedis, 32 pages for 500 Ghana cedis. 32 pages for 500 Ghana cedis, and then 48 pages for, beg your pardon, is going for 700 Ghana cedis. So 32 pages, 700 Ghana cedis, and then 48 pages is going for 800 Ghana cedis. It's going for 800 Ghana cedis. Now, this got a lot of people actually talking and interesting conversations that went on. First of all, we pick from the minorities' point of view in Parliament, and I remember Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa spoke a lot about it, saying increment in the cost of Ghana's or Ghanaian passport acquisition announced by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has generated and it was greeted with mixed reactions by a section of the public. And a lot of people actually had things to say and not so much pleased with the amount that has been introduced. And Member of Parliament for the Northern, that's Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, in a post on his social media handle, described the increment as untenable due to the current high cost of living in the country. He mentioned that Parliament and the Foreign Affairs Committee advised the review to be postponed until the economic conditions improved until the economic conditions actually improved. But the suggestion was disregarded. And he says that they will do something about this when Parliament actually reconvened. The majority also held a press conference to address the same issue. You go to Thursday's edition of the Ghanaian Times. It says the majority caucus defends passport fee hike. The majority caucus in Parliament has defended the increase in passport application fee and called on Ghanaians to support the increment to make passport application process efficient. The caucus said that the increment was a decision by the entire House, and at no point in time was there an objection to this particular increase. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee and a member of Parliament for Ashanti Achim North, Andy Apiakubi, told journalists that the increment was long overdue, and just the whole support of this. Philip, I'm starting this stretch with you, at least from both sides, and what Ghanaians are also saying.
I thought the government would have told us why they did that, because I have my own reasons.
Don't worry. I started my earlier submission with him, so let's not. Don't worry. Let's see. Yes.
You see, sometimes you actually wonder if these people, this NPP government, Nana Addo and President Nana Addo, Vice President Bawumia, whether they are really in charge of this country.
Why?
Because they take certain decisions that you will not be wrong to say that ideally they wouldn't have made those decisions if actually they had everything under control.
Okay.
Because look at what every Ghanaian is going through now. The hardship, the uncomfortability, the unemployment, even power to even work on your own. We are being subjected into another doom so that we cannot even explain to ourselves. You look at all these things, a president that is fully in charge ideally wouldn't add salt to injury by giving this kind of astronomical height in passport acquisition. Now what do we see? They've done it. I would have wished that maybe the president or the minister would say that probably we are under a program that has compelled us to take the decision, so Ghanaians bear with us. But no, look at the arrogance, look at the disrespectfulness to Ghanaians. What did the minister say when we confronted her with this kind of rises in prices?
Yeah.
He said, if you cannot spend 400 or 500 cedis, 800 cedis to acquire a passport, as compared to the ticket of a flight to any country in this world, then you have no business acquiring a passport. I think this is like an insult.
How is that an insult?
It is an insult because ideally government was taking a subsidy of 300 cedis or so. Yeah, 300 cedis. So we were paying 100 cedis, but actually the total cost was 400. Because there was a subsidy to it, that's how we're paying that. So if the government is removing the subsidy and then adding 100 cedis to it, making 544% of the original price, you should be able to tell us why you are taking out that subsidy. You don't tell us that a flight ticket is expensive than the cost of the passport. So if you cannot pay for passport, then you don't have a business in traveling. Like, it brings in more anger to the people. So that is why we keep on saying that communication is very key. Fine, we know that you've disappointed us. We know that you have become clueless about the whole governance system. We know how bad you have performed. But if you are doing things that are not giving us confidence or are not giving us comfort, by putting more pressure onto us, you don't annoy us by telling us what we should use our money for. Or by telling us that if you cannot pay for A, then you don't have business in going to B. I think that is too much. So they should come clear and tell us that maybe as part of the IMF conditions, we are being obliged to take out this kind of...
I don't think so.
No, but these subsidies were there.
Be part of it, yes.
Good. So these subsidies were there. That was cushioning Ghanaians. Why did you remove it? You have your reasons. So why won't you come clear and tell Ghanaians that we are taking out the subsidy because of ABCD? Instead of that, you are telling us that if we cannot pay 400 cedis for passport, how much more can we get a ticket to travel? So the fact that the price of ticket is higher than the passport, if you cannot acquire a passport, you don't have a business, any business doing with traveling.
No, but Philip.
Yes.
If you are prepared to pay tickets, sometimes, I mean, in dollars, 1,000 to 1,005, and all that.
I agree.
At least you should be able to also afford a passport.
Very good. So you can afford a passport.
Yes.
But we're not paying. You and I, our taxpayers' money or the taxes we pay was used to cushion this kind of passport acquisition. Government was not used. It was not another's money or Baumia's pocket money that they used to cushion the passport acquisition. The subsidy came from the same taxes that we are paying. So it was you and I.
Yeah.
So because I am coming from, look, when I was about to go to SS, look, those of us from the village, even to go to school, sometimes the whole community must even come together to raise money for you. So if maybe I have a scholarship or I've been able to get a scholarship to travel, but I need a passport, even my plane ticket, it is my community that is going to contribute and pay for that money. So that 300 cedis or 500 cedis for that passport, if I should have it free, it is a big deal for me. So if by any reason that you are taking that thing out, you should be able to tell me something reasonable. Don't tell me that because the plane ticket fare is high, if I cannot procure a 500 cedis passport, no. Tell me that maybe we are taking this out in order to enhance the services. Maybe you use 1 week or a month to get your passport. So when we take this subsidy out, we are going to do something different, such that the very day that you take your picture, you get your passport that day. This is something reasonable. You tell a Ghanaian this, we don't mind paying for services. We always pay for our services. So if you have a good service or you are going to upgrade something to give us a better service, you tell us that. You don't tell me that because a price of A is getting higher, if you cannot... No, you don't do that. The same way, once upon a time, the minister told us that when we were complaining about increment of rent and how rent control is handling issues, what did she say? She said, if you are tired of, like, you are seeing Ghanaian rent to be too expensive, you should go to Canada and see how much they are paying. This is what they used to tell us. And the same way, the energy minister, when we were asking for a timetable, then he was telling us that there's nothing like a timetable. Those who are requesting for the timetable, asking for the timetable, they should go and prepare themselves. This is how power has engulfed these people to the extent that it becomes so arrogant that a common communication to we, the people that place them there, you and I, our money, those who are spending our money, they talk to us anyhow. So that is where the anger is. We are not actually concerned that they are taking the money out. Fine, the thing is pinching us. We feel that this is not the time because already you've subjected us to so much hardship that we don't think increasing it or taking this subsidy out is something that you have to do it now. You don't do it and then come and tell me that because the flight fares are increasing, if you should be able to cater for it. No. It is not everybody that is living the life that those who are fortunate to be enjoying that are living. No. Look at transport fares. Look at the conditions.
Anyway,
yesterday I bought okro for myself, believe me.
We talk about fuel prices, so don't worry. Yesterday you bought what? Cocoa?
No, okro.
Okro.
And they sold for me 3 for 2 cedis. 3 okro. I bought it at Adam Robe. If you get to, it's a town between Eburi and then Oyibi. There's a stretch there. I went to work there, you know, I'm a surveyor. I saw okro and then I bought 15 cedis. You say, how much did you get it? So 3 for 2 cedis. Hey, why I like you? Yeah. Which means if you go to our markets now, it is more than that. This is what Ghanaians are looking for. And this is where the hardship is. So someone who is doing power cannot even afford okro. And you are telling the person that 500 cedis to procure a passport is nothing. It means where you are, it is better. So you are not feeling the heat that an ordinary Ghanaian is feeling. So, fine, they can do whatever they want to do now. They have the power. As the Honorable Member of Parliament said, Parliament will try its best. I'm sure when they come back.
But the thing went to Parliament. And Parliament approved for this fee to be charged.
See,
the only difference here coming from the minority, that's Honorable Blackwell, is that they told them to hold on so that at least the hardship will be down before they can go ahead with implementation.
Let's be on the fair ground.
Yes.
Before something even go to the floor of Parliament, it goes to the committee level. And the committee level, that is where the individual MPs will make an input. So you have to be asking yourself that the input that the minority made during the committee level, did the minister or did the government consider it?
What's that input?
You say we have...
The input is to hold on.
So have they followed it up? That is why I'm saying that there are things that need not to be done now because of the hardship that we are facing. Ordinary okra is how much? How much more tomatoes? And this is what we eat. This is what we depend on every day. So if we cannot afford it and we are telling you that, hold on, let us come and then do things, let the ordinary Ghanaian feel a bit relief. So that when things are going on, when the youth are being employed through the 24-hour economy that is coming, that one, even if passport should go to 1,000 cedis, I don't think anybody will complain. If you are making, let me say, $5,000 equivalent in Ghana here, will you complain about a passport of 500 cedis? No. But that thing is not happening. So if the honorable MP says that they gave an input for them to hold on and they refused, because he has something to say. And if you have bluntly refused what the minority is saying and you've done what you want to do, you don't come and just loosely put out that because a commodity is up, you should be able to afford the other one. No. It is not everybody that enters his bank account and withdraw money to come and do passport or buy a ticket. People like us, when we were growing, we got to where we are because of our community. So to give somebody even 300 cedis, it is a big deal when you get back to my village. So it is not everybody.
What's your village?
Oh, I'm coming from Nkwanta. So my village is called Abrewa Junction.
Abrewa
Junction. Junction.
Okay, you know that.
You know Abrewa Junction. So you see where I'm coming from. So imagine that my village. How much do you think 300 Ghana cedis would be? Go and gather like 10 people and give them 300 cedis and see whether they will not even give you there.
Philip.
Yes, sir.
If somebody from your village,
Abrewa
Junction,
yes,
is prepared to put together $1,000.
Yes.
$1,500,
yes.
$2,000
to buy a ticket.
To buy a ticket.
How much more is 500 to buy?
I think that person should be prepared to.
So that is why I'm trying to explain to you that those of us from that village, we don't raise those $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 on our own.
Okay.
The head of family sometimes summons everybody. This our son is going to school. If you have yam, go and sell. If you have okro, if you have maize, go and sell. This is how we used to do to push ourselves. And it is still going on there. So a 500 cedis worth of passport should be given to somebody free. It is a big deal there because nobody pays more than 200 cedis when such things happens. So this is all that I'm trying to. It is not like Accra, whereby my brother can take his ATM card, get to the booth, withdraw 20,000, 50,000, or maybe as he has promised, maybe I'll leave here, he will momo me 10,000, I feel take it and buy fuel or take it and take
drugs.
Oh, you see these people, and just he can do it. You see, he can do it.
Okay.
So life in there, I am talking about Abrewa Junction, but if you go to Fanchinoko, you go to the villages, Bonfire and those interior places, believe me, even 50 Ghana cedis is a big deal. So that is what we are talking about. And those people, those of us from those hinterlands, we are more than the people in Accra and Kumasi and those big cities that you can mention. And this is where all the food we eat come from. You see, so these 500 cedis, believe me, if someone should have a scholarship to go and read the first degree from that village today, unless they call upon almost everybody, there are houses that cannot even produce that thing. So this is the point. And if you have ignored what the Ghanaians have spoken through the minority, and you've done what you think is right because you have the power to do so, don't come and add salt to our injury by telling us what will rather irritate us. You don't build a nation like that.
Okay.
That is my
why this increase actually?
George, it has to be established that the cost of producing a passport per unit has been 400 cedis. The initial practice was that each individual who seeks to apply will pay 100 Ghana cedis, and government will then pay the subsidy of 300 cedis. And this subsidy was being paid by governments through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They would have to look through their own resources and try and subsidize. The question we ask is that over the period, and George, this has sat in our books for the past 10 years.
What?
The issue of the cost of passports.
Yeah.
And whether it is sustainable for government to continue to pay this subsidy of 300 cedis. And it is not surprising that over the years, we have seen a lot of inefficiencies in the passport delivery. Today, if you like apply for passports in Accra, whether you are in Accra or Tema or Kuma, You either get December this year or January next year, which is so unfortunate. Yeah. And so it is important for the fees. Don't forget that the proposal was done. Even in the 2024 budget, approval was given to ensure that the 15% increase in fees and charges is being effected. Now, when you look at the passport application fee across charges $8. And we source for the same passport booklet from the same supplier. With Liberia is charging about $40. And so with this continuous incidence of government subsidy, I don't think it would have been helpful. I am surprised and amazed by the rants by the minority. The minority has always been in parliament, and let me see, being chaired by the respected Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayeni. When you check the numbers in that committee, you have 10. They were like, no, this 100 cedis is not sustainable. And so there were no objection whatsoever, no dissenting view. The minority were there, and it went to the plenary. Same thing, no issues, no dissenting view. But because of political expediencies and the quest for power, you now have some of the minority MPs making a lot of noise about it. Meanwhile, on the floor of Parliament, they could not raise any objection to it. That is what is surprising.
That's they told the ministry to hold on because of the hardship that Ghanaians are
George, you see, so this is quite surprising again.
Why?
At the committee level, you ask yourself that why didn't the committee agree that let us then make sure that we don't even send this to the plenary, or our report to the plenary would be that let it be so. I'm surprised that at the committee level there were no dissenting views, and now you turn around at the committee level, you agree to it. That of course 100 cedis isn't sustainable. It will be important for there to be an increase in the fee of passport application. Then when it is done, you then come out in the full glare of everyone, and you are making it as if you were not in parliament, as if you were not. I don't know whether he's part of the committee or not. It is surprising. So sometimes it tells you about the double standardness of some of our political people just for political power. But George, you see, when you look at the data from the passport office, I think it's something we would have to consider. As we speak today, there's a backlog of about 70,000 passport booklets to be printed. And the passport office receives an average of about 5,000 applications every day. 5,000 applications. And their machines are able to print just about 2,000. And that is when they're able to stretch the printing of the machine to about 10 p.m. They're able to print just 3,000 out of the 5,000 applications. So it tells you that in every day, there's a backlog. Passports that are unable to be printed, about 2,000 of them. In a week, you have 10,000. In a month, you have 40,000. This is the reality on ground. And so with this new increase, what it will do is that, one, it will help the passport office to ensure that they are able to install 2 giant printers that will be able to print 2,400 passport booklets just in 1 hour. In 1 hour, they'll be able to print 2,400 booklets. And this would mean that from henceforth, the passport office will be operating a system where in each day, they would have people who will be working or printing the applications for that day. And there will be an extension of the period to ensure that they're able to deal with the backlog.
Extension of the period, like working
extension. I mentioned that they work when they're able to extend. Hold on. I know where it's coming. And someone who couldn't even keep the light on for 24 hours, even for 6 hours. He mentioned 24 hours. It will help the passport office to provide efficient service delivery for all of us. And don't forget that over the period, there has been this canker of Goro boys. Sometimes it is quite disheartening that you would have to pay such huge amounts of money, 3,000 cedis, 1,500, and sometimes even more, just for a common passport booklet. And so if with this increase in the application fee, we are able to expedite the efforts in printing these passports, what it will mean is that you apply in about 21 days. Forget that sometime last year, around August or so, the Minister for Foreign Affairs shook the passport office. She went there. She did a lot of changes. There were people there who were claiming that they were from national security, what's not. Go boys, that department or the passport office. And today, whether you like it or not, that kaka is still there. It's still there. And the only way forward is to ensure that, one, this increase in the fee will be met with some kind of increased efforts. And I have mentioned here that the passport office is in the process. And I am confident that once this is done, this will not be an issue for Ghanaians. Just as he himself mentioned, everybody would appreciate it. And everybody is willing to pay even higher fees once you're able to deliver on your promise. And that is what the Foreign Affairs Ministry through government is doing to ensure that with this increase in the fees, very soon, in a month or two, we will begin to see massive changes in our passport delivery systems. Yes, so that when you apply, you will even be called earlier for your 100 passports in a day. In a day. So if this is done, it would of course increase the pace at which people would be able to have their passport booklet. And when that happens, it will deprive government of investing in critical sectors of the economy. That is how come it has become expedient today for this to be effective. And we continue to encourage Ghanaians that they should exercise some kind of restraint with government, and we promise to deliver them. Looking forward to coming here to sit with my brother Philip for he himself to attest that he applied. He was given a date in November or December this year, or even in January next year. He has been called, or he was called to even come for the biometrics earlier, and he has his passport. That will be the story very soon.
Okay, let's just wait and see how things actually fall out. Yes, Philip.
My brother and I think we fall under the category of young men. If I say that in the direction that we still have, naturally, we are supposed to have a long life ahead of us as compared to our grandfathers at home. So whatever we are saying, it means we may live to encounter our worst in the near future. I think the portfolio is a spokesperson for
Ministry of Works and Housing.
Ministry of Works and Housing. And you seems to be doing better than even the Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Why?
Because what he is...
Why?
George, let me come in.
Yes.
What you are saying now, you are now telling us why the increment and then what the increment is going to be used for. But your minister...
But the minister himself and the deputy have been explaining this.
Let me hear him out. Don't worry. I'll just I'll give you the same time.
The words of your minister, when a question was asked why this increment, the justification was that if plane fares are way above the passport, $2,000, $1,500 and $1,000, and you can afford that, a $500 shouldn't be something that you shouldn't be able to afford. But for whatever reason, I think we first of all had an addendum here that the price of a passport was $400. Government was taking $300. That was it went to Parliament. And the one who is in Parliament, not you and I, who is reading from social media and the reports from Parliament too, said that when the thing came, they suggested that, hold on, because Ghanaians are going through something that if this thing should be implemented now, it's going to create a lot of uncomfortability. You ignored 2,400 per hour, yes?
Yeah.
2,400. It means if in this situation we are working within the 8 hours, we are going to be having 19,200 passports that is going to be printed per day. And your average application is 5,000, which means we are going to, the machine is going to work less than half of its capacity per day. And now look at this arrangement. You have the 48 pages one. If you want it express, you are paying 800. And then if the machine is going to print something that is less than the application, why do we have these express things again?
That's not which application. There's a backlog of 70,000. Are you not concerned? If you have a scholarship, you have to go to school.
Okay, no.
And you have to come for biometrics next year. Will you be happy about it?
Notice, I'll come to him.
So mathematics is one of my favorite topics, or my favorite subjects. We can print 19,200 per day, and we have a backlog of 70,000. So now, if we should take so when we divide this 70,000 by the 19,200, it will take us less than 4 days to clear all the backlog. So why these categories of express and then standard again? If you are actually planning to bring a machine that can print more than we even need in a day, less than half. So sometimes don't talk to us as if we really don't know what sometimes we talk about. You see, every Ghanaian is now an economist. Every Ghanaian now is... Baumia has forced many people, including myself, to read about economy. to try to understand the angle that he's coming from. The management of the state by Nanado, our president, is forcing a machine that is going to work less than half of your work that you need to be done in a day. Why do you have to have category of express? It means whoever applies maximum within a day or two, you should be able to clear it. Because we are doing the thing online. You are filling everything. So all that you need is to come and take a picture and print your passport. Because that's the stages. You fill the form. That can print more than you need in a day. You can use even 2 hours to fill the form. And that will be submitted. And taking a picture, how many minutes do we use to take a picture? So equally, you can equally have a long room whereby you should be able to take any picture. And you have sizes. The American lottery that we are doing, nobody goes to American embassy to go and take picture. You can give us specifications that when you are filling the form, take a current picture of this nature and upload it and come and collect your passport the following day. If that is what is going to happen, the way he's trying to narrate this story.
How then do you do the biometrics?
No, but I say allow him to finish. Let him finish, okay? You note, you give me the chance, note it, okay?
And verify your biometric. Printed. Because the printer is going to print less than what you need. So why are we having the categories or the express and then the standard? This is something that you are just saying here and do the computation and see whether you are not going to have less than what you need in a day. So if it is really true, this is what they are coming to do, there would have been nothing like categories. So far that we are still going to have the express mode, the standard mode, believe me, nothing is going to change. And I mean, what he is saying that they are going to buy a machine that is going to print 19,000 a day. So if you are printing 19,200 a day, how many days will it take?
It could be within a day or just
so if the machine can print more than what you need in a day, what is preventing them from giving you your passport that same day and have to give somebody? You take the words of these people, you put it together, and you realize that it doesn't just add up in any way. The minister didn't. Me from the opposition, I do my calculation, and our viewers will agree with me that if you are coming to introduce a new system that is going to give you, if there is any condition from any angle that is pushing them to make these things, we are Ghanaians. They are representing us. They have to do what we have sent them to do. So if there's something that they have to do that is going to affect us, but because we are in a situation, they've been blaming everything on Actus Day. That's an act of God. Sorry. If there is something that is pushing them to do, and inside their heart or deep inside their conscience, they know that will make me listen, and then I will feel like as if I'm not being reasonable. No, that one will not work. So they should come again and again, come clearer.
Okay.
At Abrewa Nko Junction, I remember sometime in 2021, I was doing a project over there, and so he even offered his place for me to sleep. He's a teacher, and he tells me his dream is to apply for school and get the opportunity to school outside. That this same Abraham, who is from the same locality of Philip, Abrewa Nko Junction.
Abraham what?
Abraham. That's how I call him. That's his name. I don't know. Yes, Abraham. Don't worry. Yes, I am happy to inform him that from henceforth, he would have been given a date beyond November and December this year, or even entering into 2025. I am happy to tell him that today, if he does that with the new increase, he would be called on time and he would even get his passport in no time. You see, we have a lot of people who are just against government. Whenever government is able to reason to put to bear, to bring to the table critical policies that will address the challenges Ghanaians are going through, you would find a lot of people who would not be able to raise objective criticism to it, but to sit on live television and just story. It's the same initiative that will address the challenges we have at the passport office today. And in no time, a lot of my colleagues who have had scholarships, full scholarships, and they have applied for passport. And because they don't have money, they have been given a date in November and December this year. Meanwhile, school begins in September.
They don't have money for what?
They don't have money to pay for express and engage these Goro boys and all of that. And so they are going strictly by they're supposed to report in school in September and October this year. I am happy to tell them that with this new arrangement, in fact, George, just a second. Okay. The those who are having November, December, and very soon they will be able to do that on time. I am happy to inform you that very soon all these incidences of people struggling, especially those who are not so well to do, of which you mentioned, in your community and in several communities that I have also had the privilege of visiting. I am happy to let them know that they should relax. Very soon they'll be able to have these services.
Manasseh, don't you find this interesting, Manasseh, that you applied for a passport,
right,
and you've been told to come maybe in the next 2 months. That's when it's going to be ready.
Right.
Yet there's somebody there called a Guru boy who can get it to you within 2 or 3 weeks. Is this not interesting? That's number one. Right. Number two, doesn't it show us that there's a systemic failure somewhere, but not necessarily money can fix that?
The issue of Guru boys has been something that has been in the system for far too long.
Yes.
In fact, when you talk about corruption, you remember when Moses had an encounter with God, when he went to,
the mountain
to bring the 10 Commandments. When he came, what happened? You realized some people had been engaged in corruption, so he had to smash the tablet on the 10 Commandments. So this is something that has been in the system far too long. It permeates all governments we have had in the history of this country. And I have mentioned that the way forward, last year, the minister himself was there to shake up the place. People who were claiming to be supposedly from national security or wherever, all these people were sacked. And it became a whole issue. Right. That is why we are saying that the best way to deal with this is to ensure that we deal with the inefficiencies. And one of the biggest inefficiency at the passport office today has to do with the subsidy that government is paying. That is not sustainable. Otherwise, we'll continue to have incidences like this. And I am explaining to you that if you pay the 500 or you pay for the express delivery and you are called on time, and in about 21 days or even in 2 months, you're able to get your passport. And once we have these 2 giant printers, they'll be able to print so many passports in a day. There will be no need for these guys, whether they are there or, I'm telling you, whether they are there or not, they will be rendered useless. They would be, whether we like it or not, you would find people who are insiders condoning and conniving with them. A lot of the times, the ministry or government security will do a lot of flashing.
The challenge is that
still they come back.
The challenge is that if you're buying machines and we have to pay more and all that, and we've not actually resolved the challenges that has to do with those people in there that are conniving with the Guru boys to ensure that somebody's passport is either delayed or quickly gotten, we'll end up not solving any problem.
Right. So, George, yes. Beyond going for biometrics, it takes time for your passport to be printed. And I am mentioning that once these 2 giant printers have been installed, we're able to print some more. And it will also reduce the days of which you would have to wait and get your passport issued to you. Once we are able to do this, all these incidences of Guru boys and their relevance will be brought to the mud. It will be drastically reduced, because why would I go and pay maybe 3,000 cedis to someone where within a month or 2, if I have applied for passport, because of the new arrangement that is enhancing the service delivery of our passports, in 2 months I can get it. Why should I pay 3,000 or 5,000 or whatever to you to secure that? This is what we are seeking to do. And again, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Security has been collaborating to ensure these people who are doing that, we flash them out. But the more you try, the more they come. Government is not relenting on that. But the smartest way to deal with this is to ensure that we are able to increase the service delivery. How do we do this? By ensuring that we bring on board a sustainable way to ensure that from henceforth, once you pay for it, in no time, you'll be called to come and do your biometric, and in no time, your passport will be issued to you. Let us, in a month or 2, or in 3 months' time, if after Ghanaians paying this amount of money, if we still find these things, then of course it will raise genuine concerns, and all of us will not even support these things again. This is the assurance and this is the directive. And I am confident that once this is happening, already we are getting assurances from those who are installing our machines that yes, this is a good cause, they are ready to support. Parliament, I am mentioning to you that a lot of the MPs, even NDC MPs, were all for this. They were all for this because whether you like it or not, no one can tell you. If you were a businessman, George, tell me, if you're a businessman, you move out, you get this for 400 cedis. You come and you sell it for 100 Ghana cedis. How sustainable is it? You do this for a period, and it gets to a time where you need to realize that you would have to do some structural changes in it. Even if you don't want to make profits, you should just raise the cost to the same amount you used to produce it.
And so why didn't that happen?
This is the time. Government, of course, had a lot of subsidy programs in various sectors of the economy. Now is the time to ensure that we are able to increase service delivery by ensuring that once we take out the subsidy and people are paying for it, you then will be able to demand for quality service delivery from government. And if government isn't able to do that, then of course everyone will be very, very fair and objective in calling government out. That is what I'm saying, that we are delivering on this. Just give us some few months and the story will change. But as for our brothers, and because of the cheap political experiences and all,